Okay, just wanted to show people how to make a simple shim. So in this case, this is going to be just a simple butt joint. You need 1x4s. 1x4s, cut them 1 7/8. You'll need 2 of them, of course. And the next set you'll need are 14 3/4. And between the 2 of them, we do it right, it'll end up being 16 1/4 by 19 7/8. You also need some screws. I suggest 1.5 inches. Since I don't have any, I will explain. These are 1 1/4 inches, and I have 1 5/8 right here. A little bit bigger than 1.5 inches. It'll work. You can see here it's got a lot more bite in the 1 1/4. Once they're sunk, that's not much. So I wouldn't recommend anything less than 1.5 inches. You of course can go longer, but there's really no reason to go longer. It's just going to eat up more space. Sometimes, I'm sorry, it's just going to take a little bit longer and maybe get out of square. I would also recommend that you have a square. I'll bring one over here in just a second. Don't need this. I recommend that you get a countersink for the appropriate size screw you're using. In this case, it's 1.5 inches. It'll just help it'll help you put those screws in a lot easier. It's just far easier if you do that. And of course, for whatever type of bit you're using or screw you're using, make sure that you get the right bit for your drill. You don't have to use a cordless. You could just change them out. It's not a big deal. You don't have to have 2 drills like I've got. You could make it work. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab the 14 3/4. That's going to be your 2 middle pieces. The 19 7/8 is going to be on the end. All right, and so what you need to do is grab your countersink, load it into your drill, and then you're going to put in a few screws. I would do, say, 2, 3, but we're going to want to glue these, of course, as well. What I'm going to do first is we're going to try to use a square and kind of get it somewhat square. Not a big deal for the countersink. However, what I want to do here is I'm just trying to get an idea of where to put the hole. You could measure, of course, if you want, 3/8 to middle if you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm not overly concerned about it right now. What I'm just trying to do is get close. So what I'm going to do is do it like this, just to make it easier with gravity. And just sink it in just a little bit. You of course don't have to use a countersink, but it looks a little bit better and they seat a lot better. And we want to do that on both ends. And then of course on both sides. Next thing we're going to do, just simply start working. This is going to go back here, stand these up. Now if you want to get, this is the super easy way to do it. If you want to get technical, we could check to make sure which one's got a little bow. If there's any, you can look down the line and make sure the bow's out. It's not that big of a deal right now. What I want to do now is add a little bit of glue. I use Type Bond 3, live off this stuff. It's basically exterior grade glue, it's good stuff. You can smear that around if you want, or in this case I'm just going to throw it on and not worry too much about it. Okay, so what I do, get this a whole lot closer to the edge of my bench. Just makes things easier. And line them up, drop one in. I'm just going to start it so it's grabbing. And we can get the bottom one in. And you can see it's not too bad. I mean, it's not great. You can see it's just slightly off, but you know, for some hobbyists, that's not going to be a big deal. And it's not perfect, but it certainly will work. And there you go. There's your first one. Got to follow this up. So we'll do it again over and over and over again. Check this out. Square up. It's not bad. It's not great. it's not bad. Okay, so finally after you get it screwed together, check it for square. This one's not bad, not great. We got some gaps here I don't like at all, but it's working. Will it work on your box? Sure, sit it on your box. As long as it sits on there and it's covered all around, it's great. What you want to watch for is if you put it down and it starts wobbling, so you know, if it starts doing that, you got a big 1/4 inch gap, that would be bad. If you want to, you can grab either some sandpaper and clean up your edges. You can kind of see sometimes this one's just maybe a 1/16 off, a little bit here. Just that's because of our bad joint. The butt joints just aren't exactly great. They're tough to get squared up. There's definitely better ways to do this, but this is a nice, quick, easy shim.